Hey guys, I see some of you are already here, and welcome to what is hopefully going to be the first of many weeks of sprints. I'm intending to make this a weekly thing the entirety of this year, hopefully going into other years, but we'll see. Like, definitely when I'm on holiday, of course, there's not going to be any, and we'll see how long I keep up with this. But the intention is to make it every Thursday, and definitely for January, they're already scheduled in. So let me see, we have a few people here already. Hello, welcome. Hey, Charlotte. Hey Jess, I finally made it to someone's sprints. I did only make it to one of the Be Sure-a-thon sprints so far, but I actually have been on sprints all week, but I've been on sprints of some other people as well who have been saying for a very long time that I needed to join their sprints. Hey Ewolds, hello Anina, hey Judith, hey Femke, hey Leslie, hey Tufty. Hey, I don't actually know your name, so feel free to leave it in the comments, but also, of course, feel free to not share. That's also, of course, perfectly fine. As you see, I've set the timer. So my idea for these sprints, or kind of why I wanted to do these sprints, is because I wanted to make like a really strict sprints, not strict, but I mean, really structured sprints. So a lot of times when I do sprints, the talking bits gets really, really long, and it's not necessarily a problem. But I wanted to make sort of sprints where you could always like kind of count on it's going to take this amount of time, and I'm going to get that amount of reading done in it. So that's why these are 2 in 3 sprints. So we're going to do 2 hours of reading over a period of 3 hours. Meaning, it's in the description as well that I will have like an introduction and an ends chatty bit of 10 minutes. And then in between, we're always going to do 40-minute sprints, 20 minutes chatting break. But so let me know what you guys are reading. I am currently still reading Secret Project #1 by Brandon Sanderson. I am 64% in, I want to say, at this point in time. I will not be finishing it today because according to my Kindle, I still have like 3 hours of reading to do. And after this, I don't know yet what I'm going to do. I kind of want to game, but if I'm going to game after 10 o'clock at night, there's too much risk of me playing the entire evening. And I have already gamed right before going live. So I probably will just watch like a TV show or some booktube. Wow, how did I get so far behind that 5 seconds? Hey, hey, a few more people. Hello. I'm still reading The Wolf of Oren-Yaro. How are you enjoying it? I don't remember whether you were enjoying it when you were on sprints. I don't really remember whether you were enjoying it. Hopefully you are. At least you're still reading it, so you haven't DNF'd in any case. Finished errands in time, so now I can read. Perfect. I've spent all afternoon watching the Days Booktube episodes. There's so many episodes. Yeah, I need to film a final update for my wrap up because my wrap up needs to go up on Saturday, and I still need to finish like the wrap up for the final book that I read. Perfect timing. I want to start Best of All Possible Worlds tonight. Also, I just watched your most recent video, Sarah. Okay, hey. Best of All Possible Worlds. I don't even know that. Is like what genre is that? I've been trying to spend the afternoon reading my book, Epic Fail, again. I mean, it's not a fail. You just had other things on your mind. I've not been reading a whole ton this week. Like, I've definitely been fulfilling my balance goal, let's say it like that. As I said, I put restrictions on my reading for this year, and I've only gone the utmost on Monday. The rest of the days, I haven't read the amount of reading that I'm allowed to do. I still need to figure out what to read. I just finished my latest one today. Ah, nice. Hope you enjoyed it. Strict sprints is more reading. Hopefully, that's the intention in any case. I really like the idea of these strict sprints. Excited to get some reading done after I finish my dinner. Nice. It looks so good what you had yesterday, like the wrap thing. It makes me want to make them. When I was in high school and we went like, I don't know, on a weekend or something like that, we always made wraps because it was so easy to make. And for some reason now I almost never make it because I almost think it's too much effort, even though it's really not that much effort, but for some reason I consider it effort. Oh, should watch where I'm moving my foot because now my webcam just moved. I have 55 pages to go of Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. This is a book that just appeared out of nowhere. I did not hear about this book until you were reading it, until you started reading it, I think. Or was it? I think it was you, right? And then all of a sudden I saw it everywhere and saw everybody reading it, but I didn't know it was coming, don't even really know what it is about. Um, but all of a sudden I see it everywhere. Hey, I appreciate you not saying the title of the secret project. I very much wanted to be spoiled for nothing when it came to the secret project, so I will always keep referring to the secret project. I've also been debating how to do it for my wrap up, and I think for my wrap up, I will also just refer to it as a secret project and kind of give nothing. And then I'll do a separate video in which I give a review of the secret project, and in that video, I will kind of give the bare basics of what it is about and my thoughts on it. Basically, a spoiler filled review, and in my wrap up, I'm going to do like almost no information. I also like the idea of strict sprints, especially during the week when sprints can't go on forever. It's good to feel accomplished at the end. Exactly. And like this way, you always know on Thursday from 7 to 10, my time at least, there's a possibility to join sprints. They won't run late. I will just cut you guys off. I'm sorry for that, but that is basically the idea. I'm reading Down Among the Sticks and Bones. That is also on my TBR for this month. For Be Sure Dawn. I'm leaving to get my hair done in 2 hours, so I don't know if I'm going to start reading anything. I'm reading House of Leaves. It requires 100% of my attention. I bet it does. 42% of the way through Project Hail Mary. It just got interesting when Grace sees the thing and does the thing with the thing. Yeah, I actually kind of know what you mean, but I did not get to 42%. So I'm guessing you are already enjoying it a lot more than me. I have 2 tiny chapters left of Good Daughter of the Moon Goddess, and then I finish my first book of the year. Nice. I really love it. I also want to read that, but it's definitely not gonna happen this month, so I won't be able to read it alongside. Is it the Enchanted Book Club that's doing it, or what is the other? I don't remember what the other ones are called. I'm really enjoying it, but I didn't make any progress in the sprint, so I need to read instead of game. I've been gaming all week, Elden Ring, and I just messaged my colleague as well because I had such a big jump scare earlier. Like really, my heart was up until like 10 minutes before the sprints. My heart was still pounding, and I really yelped out loud, very loudly. My heart felt more like a heart attack than a jump scare on my end. So I didn't have it that bad before, but this one guy really surprised me. I'm still reading The Hobbit, a bit over halfway through, and I'm probably falling asleep during sprints, very tired, very legitimate. I had that earlier this week. I'm probably reading a mystery thriller, The Bone Collector, because I finished my day's fantasy quota. I mean, I bet you did. It's a sci-fi by Caribbean author Karen Lord, supposed to be softer and thought-provoking. Okay, haven't heard of that author, but sci-fi I'm not that well versed in, so it's not that surprising that I don't know the author. I did enjoy it. It is only my third book this year. Yeah. I'm struggling to find the motivation to cook at the moment, so I'm a mahouth vat of chili today, so solve that problem. Okay, you made a, I said I am a, whatever. I made a, I like chili to solve that. Is the title of the secret project a spoiler? I don't know the background to this. Yeah, basically this Kickstarter was sold with the idea of like, it's a year of Sanderson, it's a year in which you can go into 4 new books, knowing nothing about them in advance and discovering them all together. But then there were some information released, like a basic idea about what the book was going to be about, and the titles were also released, but those were in separate videos. And so if you wanted to, you didn't have to watch those. And so I also did not watch any of those, did not know the titles, had a vague idea about the cover, but in the end it turned out to be a different cover. But I was completely spoiler free, and the timer is about to go off. So I think this is where I'm gonna have to catch up to after this chatty bitch. Chatty bit was that supposed to be? But let's go into the long one. So see you later. Hello, how did we all do? I am like 71% or so in now, so okay-ish. I did notice that I'm kind of like falling to sleep to some extent. I'm still like recovering from New Year's Eve. Chili sounds yum. I've just finished my dinner, pasta with courgettes, mozzarella, and pesto. I had the cheap version of that being just pasta and pesto. I just didn't want to put any effort in. I have it on my Kindle and can't remember the title, even if I wanted to. Lol. Yeah, basically, I knew the title at one point as well because the publisher put like a post out there with the titles in it, and I saw that, and then I was like, "Wait, what am I seeing?" So I kind of made myself forget at that point. Don't watch Holly Hart Read's TBR video. She spoils the cover and title for Secret Project. Okay, good to know. I don't really remember, but not super far in. But in any case, the thing didn't happen. I never met the thing. Oh, self sabotage. Sabotage myself there for a second. I hope you guys hear me again. Read Along Queens is reading them. Okay. Read Along Queens. Yeah. I was a bit frustrated about the Let's Math banter of I cannot even think of the name, but then I got really interesting. So yes, I'm into it now. Yeah, for me it was just a little bit too like imagine a story just to be able to tell science. The Let's Mad banter, that's so accurate. Yeah, definitely. Jester Tufty. Happy reading, yes. This yeah, that was an unfortunate slip of the tongue there. Happy reading. Yes, Fate was there. I mean, she's still here, but she's just like sitting off camera now. And Buffy, yes. Buffy was actually lying on my lap right before I went live. But I think the moment I went live, she like disappeared from there. Hey, Ruff. My lateness is as fashionable as the torn jeans I'm wearing. I can only imagine. Hey, Daniela. I like the structure which sets time for reading and chatting. Yeah, hopefully it will work out. I'm out, can't keep my eyes open, so somebody else was struggling, but managed to read another 25 pages. Good night and happy reading. Yeah, you're already gone, I assume, but I hope you have a nice evening or, sleep immediately. Hello, I just joined a few minutes ago. I will be reading Priory in the next sprint. Nice. That's very nice project now. Is it a first time read or is it a reread in preparation for A Day of Fallen Night, I believe? I'm hoping the Christmas surge of BookTube episodes slows down because I can't keep up with the huge output from everybody right now. Yeah, I can only imagine all of the like best books, worst stuff. I actually have not watched a best books episode yet. There are definitely a few of whom I want to watch it, but for some reason, I've just never been in the mood for a best books of the year video so far. Managed 30 pages, read a chapter. I was distracted by Instagram at first, but the beginning was very compelling. Just got home and had food. Went book shopping at Waterstones in Brussels today. Nice. During my holiday, I was like tempted to do it, but in the end, I just never bothered to go. When like the Waterstones hardback sale was going on, I was like, should I just go to Brussels? But then I have too many books to read already. Still enjoying The Wolf a lot. Happy I picked a good book to start the year with. Yes, it's still my first one, already behind on my reading goal. I think I'm behind on my page goal. Reading goal is fine. I just need to finish a book this week. But I mean, even if I don't do that, then that is also fine. I'm sure that there are more than enough smaller books I will read throughout the year to catch up to that. I've been off for 4 weeks and I'm dreading going back to work on Monday. Yeah, it's not fun. I was off for 2 weeks and I will say that this week has been a total disaster of getting back into the work mood. Finished Daughter of the Moon Goddess, a 5 star. Was it your first of the year as well? Because then it's nice to have a 5 star to start with. Read 15 pages in Jane Chance's Tolkien Art and Mythology for England. Nice. I really like Daughter of the Moon Goddess as well. The Secret, not so much. I've heard quite a few people say that they didn't like the sequel as much as they liked the first one. So I need to do the first one though. So we'll see when I ever get around to the second one in that case. I really need to just read Asian myth-inspired books because I love them, but I'm always scared my expectations are too high. Yeah, that's always, of course, the thing. But with any type of book where you're building up too much anticipation, of course. But yeah, Asian mythology books, yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Asian fantasy is definitely something that will like immediately make me pick up a fantasy book, is knowing that it's Asian world building. I got a hole puncher for my happy planner and notebook, so I punched holes in stuff for 40 minutes. Wow, I mean, how many holes did you punch? I hope you counted them. I've been doing a lot of work on my Storygraph library this holiday. It has resulted in lots of additions to my shopping basket. I fear an epic haul is upcoming. Am I naughty? I mean, it's the start of a new year. This is the moment to go crazy. Or on the other hand, it's the moment to finally be sensible after having gone crazy in December. It'll be a reread. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna reread it. And I don't know when I'm gonna do A Day of Fallen Nights. It's just not like one of my highest priorities for me personally. And so because it's also like in principle companions or like a what's the word, prequel. I don't think I'm going to reread Priory in order to get to Day of Fallen Night because Priory is just so chunky and I already have so much on my TBR for the first half of the year. But it's very much possible that Day of Fallen Night won't happen in the first half of the year for me just because of how much I already have planned for this period of time. I'm behind on my own booktube videos, lol. Still need to film all the 2022 content. Well, I am up to date on what is currently been published on my channel. So now I need to film one clip for the video that's gonna come out on Saturday. And then I need to film other videos. The only thing that is filmed is the disability and fantasy video. But I mean, I filmed that 2 years ago and I finally edited. So it's not a great example of, how on top of things I am. So I'm hoping that this weekend I can definitely get some filming done so that I can get those videos up this month because I would hate to do like 2022 wrap up videos in February still. I like to keep them in January. I made a playlist of the best books 2022 since I want to make a list for a potential TBR. Yeah, that was also an idea that at some point I had, and then I was just like, okay, maybe I need to be a little bit more realistic considering how many big chunkers I already put on my TBR. So I will not do it. I think but it isn't a great idea. I think Sarah from Voyage Through Words did it. Did I just disappear on you guys? Because I did press a button and I'm hoping that it wasn't me who caused this. Timer is still going strong. So no, it was not the cats. I cannot blame the cats, Tufty. I just saw your remark. Wait, where was I? Where was I? Yeah, okay. I visit Brussels once a year to treat myself. Fnac and the Standard have quite a low amount of English books to offer, so it depends kind of like because I feel like in Leuven we have a pretty big standard, and the Fnac actually also has a really big selection here in Leuven. But with the standard, I often pre-order my books because they are relatively on time, like a few days after release is when it will be in store. If I went to an actual bookstore, would I walk out with things from my wish list or would I browse for things I haven't heard of? I think I would browse the non-fiction section actually. Oh, nice. Having been off for 4 weeks, I suspect I've forgotten how to do my job. I mean, the password is the worst thing. Like the first second that you're back at work and you need to log in and you're like, what was my password again? I was watching Mad on Books a few minutes ago, and he had a really interesting section of a nonfiction in his huge December Hall episodes. I didn't read any. I only read like four, also very little amounts. Mostly I'm just wait. Mostly I'm just waiting for my hair to dry so I can film my Umberto Eco video. I have been known to just film with my hair still wet, but of course with shorter hair you might not notice it. People might just think that I have greasy hair all the time. I don't know, I get tired of notebooks before I'm done with them, so I just have a bunch of blank pages lying around. I want to read more nonfiction this year. I've gotten out of the habits. Yeah, there's definitely some nonfiction I have on my TBR, but also just on, that I want to read. I only have two on my actual TBR at the moment. There are just so many I want to get to at some point. I can see your TBR card in the background. What will you put in the top shelf when you empty it soon? Yeah, sure. I'm pretty sure that by the time I empty it, other things will go into it. But we will see. When I go down to like 15 books, I might do like a different division of the layers. Um, and so either I'll keep three layers and I'll just like put, I don't know, plants in there or something. But we will see. I don't know whether things will be that desperate. Yeah, that is me being like, whoops, cat interference. I like how you're all assuming it was Buffy because of that one live stream, but they are like really innocently lying here asleep next to me. For some reason, I make a difference between nonfiction and academic books. I'm a snob, I guess. But maybe just because you read a lot of them, then it kind of makes sense the way that some people will count certain subgenres as well, because the academic books are the ones that you're reading for your work, right? So I can understand you wanting to kind of split that to some extent as well. They did not. But right before going live, I had a problem with the webcam. The webcam all of a sudden was disconnecting, and I had to leave the studio and go back in order to be able to get the webcam running again. So I was like, what? We're less than 10 minutes away. This webcam cannot die on me, especially since the webcam in the laptop was also not responding. So I guess it was just like the system freezing or something. It should be back right now because yeah, I see it. I have myself down at downstairs. I want to say, but it's totally not true. I have myself on the sofa so that I can kind of see what you guys are seeing. Mainly, I wanted to be able to see whether bots were entering the chat while we were sprinting. You can see and hear you now. It all went black, and it's back. Yeah, it just all of a sudden I was staring at like just my timer screen, and then it took me a second to realize that StreamYard had like was no longer open. This time indeed, let's make that clarification. This time. But I can't visit Leuven every week, even though I could be there in 10 minutes. Sure, they do deliver at home. I always have them delivered to the store just because I live in the center of Leuven. So like it is like literally 5 minutes away for me to go there, and so that way I don't need to worry about like the size of the book, whether they will be able to deliver it or not. But they do also deliver at home. Yeah, I mean I understand cats are typically to blame. I try to go to Waterstones in Brussels once a year on my birthday as well. I went to the Standard in Hasselt today and was pleasantly surprised by the amount of English books. Yeah, I went to Waterstones when I reached your TBR, and that was also when I had my birthday. So it might happen again this year. I'll just make it a more reasonable book haul because I still have, I don't know, 10 of those 17 left or something like that. Wow, didn't buy anything. But maybe because you had to carry it afterwards, or you were just mentally strong that day. It was a fair assumption, though, lol. They are all over her always. Yes, absolutely. You've seen it before. Same here, Yolene was supposed to go on my birthday, but had to work unexpectedly, so I went today. Yeah, So nice to go. Though indeed, when I went there last time, it had been so long that I'd been there that I was kind of surprised with how small it is. In my mind, I made the Waterstone so much bigger than it was. And so the fantasy section in particular, I was like, wait, this isn't even bigger than the section of the standard bookhandel in Leuven. So it was a little bit of a disappointment to that extent. On the other hand, they had more sort of like, I feel like the Standard and the Fnac in store itself have the big names of fantasy, and they had a little bit more like different choices in that sense. There are two absolute chunkers in that top shelf of the TBR card. So the empty it soon was tongue in cheek, yes. Yeah, I mean, the two big ones. The final one of those currently is penciled in for July, so we'll see. There's definitely a difference between nonfiction and academic, in my opinion. Yeah. How do you guys put yourself on a book buying budget, I guess, to lower your physical TBR? My pile just keeps growing, can't control myself, I guess. So I had a budget last year, in which, was it last year? No, last year I didn't have one. The year before that I had a budget. And so every book that I read earned me a credit. And then if a credit was like, I don't know, €3, I think. And so I had to finish multiple books in order to be able to buy a new book. And then certain books had earned me higher credits. For example, I was prioritizing books that I had just bought. So if a book that I just bought, I immediately read, I got 2 credits for it. And I think a list of like 15 books I was also giving higher priority to. So they also earned me like 2 or 3 credits. So I think one of those high priority books, I could almost instantly buy a paperback to compensate for having finally finished that. So that helped me to some extent to be more conscious of what I was buying. Because for certain releases, I would have to kind of save credits in order to be able to buy them afterwards. At this point in time, I just keep it at a maximum of 30, and then this year I'm going to keep it at a maximum of 15, but I need to get it down first to be able to have that be the maximum. Indeed, my TBR is quite literally 18 years long now, so what's a few more? I mean, you did quite well last year, right? Didn't you say that you hadn't bought that many? I gave up book buying for Lent one year and kept going to the bookstore to visit the books I couldn't buy yet, just to tell them I'd bring them home soon. Never again, Lel. I mean, that is quite mentally strong of you, because I was just trying to avoid the bookstore at all costs, because going to the bookstore, knowing I couldn't get them, really wasn't working. I figured cats like boxes, so I've left a box on the floor here for the guest cat that frequently comes to visit. It hasn't shown any interest in the box, so into the recycling it goes. Yeah, my cats don't like boxes neither. They have no interest. I once put Fate into the box, and she just looked at me like, "What am I supposed to do with this?" Same Tufty. I'm finally getting to Lemis after having it on my TBR for 22 years. Yeah, I also got to that in Project Zero TBR. I was not mentally strong. My husband was with me, and he was strong for the both of us. But this one I want to read. And how many books do you own that you want to read? End of discussion. My boyfriend is like, okay, sure, if it makes you happy. So he's more of an enabler. To be fair, I did tell him I wasn't going to buy anything until my birthday in June. Oh, wow. So you are on a little bit of a book buying ban then. I was finding gaps in my collection when I was working my way through my library, much to my horror. So I fixed it by adding the missing items to my shopping basket. The basket got huge. I did pre-order 3 books just now. One for this month and then 2 for April and May. So my TBR is over 1,000 books, so I obviously have no idea how to have a book buying ban. And Leslie wins the TBR competition. That is way past my score. Way past mine too. Makes me feel better with my physical TBR. 1! Wow. Is it always low, or did you like just get it down, or I don't know, did a massive unhaul or something like that? I'm very happy I read 1 physical book off my TBR already. Best of All Possible Worlds is number 2. Nice. My own TBR is somewhere around 350. I don't want to count. And on that note, it's time for another sprint. So see you guys in 40 minutes. So, how was that one for you all? I am 79% in now, just under 2 hours to go, and I just read a really nice bit. I already read that. That's where I ended. I read lots of books shelves. Wait, I read lots of books I shelved in 2022, but I still hold more than that. Okay, but at least you did decently in like reading a lot of the new books you got. About birthday, the summer children. Yes, my physical TBR is around 400, 500. I should count in some time. Yeah, that's basically that was my first step to reducing my TBR, was just figuring out how big it was. So what I'm working on finding out by tidying up my library collection. Tell your secrets. I moved during the summer and got my own little reading room finally coming together, which gave me a clear view, but I forgot to count. Yeah. I've been working on tidying up my library for the past 4 weeks. Today I got to the letter E for Eames and Eddings. This project is going to take longer than I anticipated. I mean, you cannot do it in one big go, I guess, because it's not just your TBR, it's also the books that you already read, right? So that's a lot of books to get through, and I can understand that being really tedious. Yeah, but good luck indeed. Mornings work on Storygraph, afternoons catch up on BookTube, evenings reads. Low TBRs, digital TBR, slightly bigger in library. What can I say? Didn't have the funds needed for a large TBR, so was forced to work around it. Yeah, that definitely works. Respect. So I should actually read the books on my Kindle? Is that what you're saying? My Kindle is the one that I'm like, I also want to tackle it at some point, but I'm not really going to keep a close eye on it at the moment. But I think it's like 40 at the moment or something like that. Or it will be 40 when I finish this one or something like that. I used to spend all my money on books when I lived at home because it was my only escapism that I really needed to keep my mind balanced, turned into a book buying addiction. Yeah, I think I was pretty okay with books until I joined BookTube. Even that's really true. It's not really true because I was already buying quite a lot more than I was getting to. And a lot of books that was like, ah, yeah, maybe one day, but that weren't like the type of books that I will easily gravitate towards. So that I had a lot of books left on there that are like books that are a little bit more of a stretch for me to get to. It's a constant struggle with all the new shinies on my physical shelves. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, that's my motivation for my zero TBR project, was to be able to get to the new shinies without worrying about the oldies on my shelves. Hey Barbara, how's everyone doing? Totally forgot these were happening. Yeah, every Thursday from now on. So after a while, you'll get used to it. We're at 29 pages of Priory. Finished a chapter on the Hobbit, got angry and stopped. Oh no, got angry because of something that the author was pointing out, or because of something else. I cannot concentrate. My brain is going a mile a minute. I might switch to a manga. That might be a nice idea to switch to something that, is a little bit less intense. 26 pages, officially halfway through the book. Nice. June humans, yeah. Books are one of the last few things that I still buy. It's basically my last remaining vice. I mean, I really, really want to get a few things at the moment, but because I'm always hesitating about what to get, and because these things all come together, I probably won't get anything because I kind of want a projector so that I can beam movies up to the ceiling, so that when I'm in my bed at night, I can still watch a movie, for example. I want a treadmill, but I know that there's such a big chance that I will never actually use it. And see, I've already forgotten the third thing, so the third thing will probably never happen. Another thing I want is the third thing is the ring lights, because I keep saying every winter that I have difficulty scheduling when I'm going to be filming. Remembered calling my dad for his birthday just in time. Nice. I might do a mean unhaul because I've had some of these for a while. Yeah, when I like definitely on my way to zero TBR, there are many book unhauls, and a lot of books that I didn't unhaul in the beginning, like a year later, 2 years later, I still unhauled them because at that point I was like, look, in the last 2 years, I've been actively trying to reduce this TBR, and at no point in time have I felt like picking these up. So I needed to be more strict with myself. I pretty much only buy books as well. Yeah. I'm going to have to review my BookTube subscriptions. These are taking up a lot of time. I don't comment on everybody. The big boys and girls with thousands of subscribers get lots of comments. Yeah. I start every harder doorway and I was searching for In an Absent Dream, but can't find it on my shelves. And I look back at my orders and I should own it. Hmm. If you have scripts, I think the audiobooks are on there, so they can help you out if you cannot find it, but hopefully you can still locate it. I think I'll be reading in bed tonight. Next up is watching The Expanse, which must be done on the big telly box. I usually have one hobby that I go all in for, and the last 2 years it has been books. So getting nothing but books for Christmas, birthdays, treats makes the TBR get out of hand in no time. Definitely. Yeah, she's sitting right next to me. I had 30 books TBR before 2020 in BookTube. Yeah, so that is where I worked back up to now. I mean, I went through zero TBR in June, and now it's at under 30, 25 exactly at this point in time. But I wanted to go down again a little bit. And part of me kind of wants to experiment with having a real zero TBR, but we'll see. The author constantly mixed up Dale and Asgaroth, which annoyed me to no end. Can't continue with the next chapter tomorrow. That's really nice. Really weird that they mix up names of characters that they're writing a book about. I do that too, all in on a new hobby. It shifts around every few years. A while back, it was board games, got well into that. Very expensive, took up a lot of room. Yeah, with board games, the thing is just like, I mean, I live alone, and so I would have to have friends over to play them, or like the majority of them. And I don't really like playing a board game on my own, for example, because I think there are some that you can play on your own. And so the board games that I have get so little use that I just find it a little bit of a waste in that sense. But luckily, I have a friend who really likes buying board games, so she always brings the board games when she comes over. I'm on page 50 of Justice of Kings. That's another one that I want to get around to, but God knows when. Board games was the one before books, and now I buy a sensible amount of board games. So someday I hope to buy a sensible amount of books to progress. You see, it is possible. There is a possibility for this to happen. Hooray for Justice of Kings, in time for the sequel. But book buying is an investment in your future happiness. Definitely, but it also kind of depends, like I feel like the longer it takes a book stays on my shelves, the less excited I am about it. I have no real TBR, which makes things easy. Yeah, definitely. You said in Christmas 21 that you wanted a ring light. I remember that, as I recall, saying the ambient light looked cozy when you mentioned it at the time. I know my colleague is always like, didn't you? You're constantly saying that. So this conversation comes back once a year, every year. And it will come back next year because I'm like, we've already passed the darkest stage of this period of time. So it only gets light earlier and earlier from this point forward. So if I got through the first half of that, I should get through the second, right? I have to get my hair done. Good luck, and maybe read something on my Kindle. You are more than welcome. I'm listening along with the audiobook, so I'll just listen to it if I can't find it. Both are towns in The Hobbit, and from the second edition of an academic. Oh, you're right, Dale. For some reason, I thought it was a character, but it is indeed, of course, a town. And from the second edition of an academic book, I'd expect more. Definitely undermines the whole argument for me. Yeah, I mean, that it's really like no revision seems to have gone into that for that to just sneak through. I couldn't cope with a true zero TBR. The act of going into my library room and browsing my shelves for something to read is such a great feeling. Yeah, I don't really do that a lot. I kind of always have an idea of what I'm going to be picking up next. That's the sad thing about board games. You need to find people who want to play with you. Like some people in our building from time to time kind of do that. So I think a few weeks ago I went to one of my neighbors to play board games over there. So that is, of course, nice. That's also nice about I live in an apartment building where we have a WhatsApp group. So if you want to, you can always kind of like do that. But still, I don't really often initiate board game night neither. Yeah, it is at least like your husband or your boyfriend, I'm not entirely sure, also likes game playing board games, right? So at least you can play some together. But even then, I guess it's not always as fun with two, or like certain games are much more fun with a big crowd. I went to a board gaming club every week for a few years, lots of people to play with. The problem then becomes you play a new game one week and another new game the next week, repeat forever. Yeah, I also just really love the comfort of my own home. So I'm not sure how often I would actually end up going. So I bought loads of board games and they'd get played once maybe at board gaming club because living alone meant they never got played here. It became a waste to buy lots to only play once. Yeah, the same. It's like having your own library. I always try to convince people that, hey, this game is really fun, holds up terraforming Mars, but somehow my friends like party games more. Okay. I think I like certain like chance games, and then like recently we played Colonisto and Catan, which had been a really long time, but I'm not good at it. I lost like 4 times. It's a shame sometimes. Yeah, definitely. I live in my family who don't care for board games. Having them for me would be pointless. Yeah. My husband humors me more than anything, to be fair. He would like to play once a month. I like to play every day. I'm getting a more pre-planned monthly TBR nowadays, thanks to BookTube, so I actually don't get to do it often. Yeah, that's of course I feel like that also for me changed when joining BookTube, and it doesn't have to, of course. You can still stay very spontaneous with your reading after joining BookTube or after like finding out about BookTube. But it can be difficult when you find out about all of these read-alongs and you hear people talking about this and that book to want to kind of join into that conversation, and so it kind of establishes a certain TBR pattern in that sense. For me, this year, it's mainly been because there are so many new releases that I want to get around to. So those I've kind of already scheduled into their months. And then with fantasy, I feel like I need to kind of structurally place a series here and there to ensure that I get around to them. Because otherwise, who knows when I would finally get around to these series? Because I always say, I really want to read them, but then there's always perceived to be higher priorities in the moment itself, especially with like live ship traders. It was like, oh, but I don't have time for a 900-page book now spontaneously, so now I need to schedule it in so that I actually get around to it. I find it hard to leave my home because it's so comfortable being here that I don't want to have to get ready to go out. Exactly. Like if I sit down on my sofa, you're not getting me out of my home anymore. So I had a friend who was like very, very spontaneous, and so she would always like ask for plans like that evening, for example. And I'd be like, no, I have something to do, which wasn't really true, but unplanned, no, I don't do that. That's it's really nice. Like Paramita, I don't think she's still here, but she is also constantly like that. Constantly saying like, okay, you give her a recommendation, and the next day she starts it. That was also amazing. That's kind of why I think a zero TBR could be really, really fun, because then I would not have this sort of feeling of like, okay, I need to catch up to those and those books, but we'll just reduce a little bit more, see if that already helps. I've kept 2 board games, Race for the Galaxy and a Dungeons and Dragons team game, the name of which is escaping me. All these read-alongs and booktube hype wagons has influenced me. Yeah. Having the books on my shelf makes me want to join more read-alongs. Yeah, definitely. That's like, oh, now would be the perfect time to read that, as I have with Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I have it on my Kindle, and so when Read-along Queens announced it, I was like, oh, I could read it now, and I was like, but I already have so much. As far as that TBRs go, it goes in waves for me. Sometimes I need to have a strict schedule, and then all of a sudden I feel too stuck and need freedom. Yeah, definitely. I'm hoping that there's still some room in this January TBR. At the moment, I'm not reading fast enough to make that happen, but we'll see. In any case, if it doesn't happen, I think I'm fine to finish my fixed TBR. It would just be nice to also be able to pick something up unexpectedly. I now have a seasonal TBR, but because I'm taking part in so many read-alongs, I actually have monthly TBRs. Yeah. Having a schedule is not something I enjoy, which seems at odds with which seems at odds with having a fixed TBR. I don't do unplanned either. Yeah. And then sometimes people are like, okay, so we've asked you 3 months in advance, so that should be fine, right? I guess so. But 3 months in advance, I'm like, I'm not thinking ahead that far yet, you know? Difficult person I am. I've been asked by neighbors, what are you doing? I'm busy. I would reply, doing what? They would ask. That makes me mad. Yeah, people shouldn't call you out for saying I'm busy because indeed I sometimes say I'm busy when when I'm not busy. It's just a way to say I don't want to do it without actually saying it. It would be nice to be able to just pick up a book on a whim just because you feel like it. So I want to make that a goal for the future. Yeah, definitely. I think second half of the year, I mean, I'm saying that now, but second half of the year, I might not plan in any like fixed series. I might just go a little bit more on the whim. I think that it did. I think like 2 years ago, I had a schedule for the entire year for Brandon Sanderson, and that, of course, didn't fill in my entire month, but just having obligations for the entire year already just made me not be as excited. So I will continue the Kushil along into the second half of the year, but I don't think I'll place like specific fantasy TBRs in specific months. So I'll just have that be a little bit more open, I think. But maybe by that time, all of this will have turned out to be perfectly fine, and I will just put fixed TBRs again. Too indecisive to have an unplanned TBR, but I have vowed to join less readathons. Yeah, readathons. I'm okay with them with doing them like less intense, so that it doesn't really impact my choices that much. I need some sort of theme or pile of possibilities, otherwise I'll stand before my shelves for hours and can't choose what to read next. I'm hoping to keep my schedule to 2 commitments a month, leaving me with one to two one to two free choices that I can make from a large TBR choice that I built for the month. Wheel of Time. Okay, my Wheel of Time and Dan Simmons videos are a service to y'all, helping to reduce your TBRs. Need more anti-TBR videos. Booking something in 3 months in advance feels great when it's 3 months out. Then I get tense when it's 1 month out, and then in the last week I'm dreading the commitment. That has definitely also happens. Why do we have this? It's not always good for my social life. Yeah, I mean, it definitely has happened where I've been like, okay, sure, I'll do that, and then like when it arrives, you're like, ugh, why? Why did I say that I was gonna do that? Why did I? I didn't even want to do this. I understand you have a readathon planned in July. Yeah, I mean, I need to start working on it at some point to be able to have a readathon in July. I have a board. That's about it. But I guess the rest can kind of sort itself out pretty quickly, except for the fact that I want to make a Google spreadsheet out of Google Forms, and I don't know how to do that. So I actually really need to look that up. Once you get old enough to skip the socials, life gets way easier. Readathon for July, is it more or less free one where you can make the prompts fit more or less? It'll be very wide prompts normally, and you should be able to choose between several prompts. I just picked up the first book of Wheel of Time from the library. quite curious now to see what I think of it. And I remember you, yeah, I mentioned it in one of my latest videos that it's a goal. Caught up just on time. All right, final sprint for tonight, and then we'll have a 10-minute chatty bit at the end. Good luck, guys. Hey guys, we did it. We read for 2 hours. So I ended up on eh, 85%. I remember now. And it's good. I'm enjoying it. I don't know yet what star rating it will have at the end, but I'm not there yet, of course. But it's good. I'm enjoying it. Where was I? Yeah, July is festival season. All I do then is drink-a-thon. Good one. Book almost finished. I feel like it's going to be a 4 star. Then I'll clean up the kitchen and start The Daughters of Izdihar. So this is one of the books that I pre-ordered today, and I already forgot what I went with because I had a really hard time deciding between the UK paperback and the US hardcover because I really love the hardcover, but the hardcover is very expensive, and it's like I think the hardcover is about 30 euros that I found it for, but the paperback is like 6 euros. So it's like a giant difference. So I don't actually even remember anymore whether I ended up going with the sensible thing of getting the cheap version. I think I did. I think I went with the cheap version and then I said if I really love it, I can get the hardback afterwards. And that's me being jealous because I also want to read it. But so my paperback will arrive like between the 11th and the 18th, so that's when I can get around to it. Thank you for being here. I mean, you're already long gone, I'm assuming, but managed to read another 22 pages, but the dogs are asking for playtime. Thanks for the sprints. I almost got to 100 pages in total. Nice. Yeah, I have to put it through Storygraph to actually know how many pages that is. I mean, that I read today because I only have the um, percentages. And actually, where did I land? So I don't even, I think I was at like 60% or something. But that might also have been before my commute. I got a digital copy from NetGalley, excited to start it now. Yeah, I'm a bit jealous of that. But I also told myself that I wouldn't get any arcs through NetGalley anymore until I got through my backlog. Finally finished my first book of the year, so sprints were definitely successful for me. I'm loving the formats. Happy that it's helping you guys. I also just wanted something to be really structured so that I can, yeah, I just wanted like I feel like that is the one thing that's still kind of missing in sprints is that option of having one that's like completely structured that you know what you're getting into from the beginning. And so I thought like, okay, why not do it myself? Hello. I have almost caught up with today's booktube backlog. I'm building a reading challenge on the Storygraph to track several booktubers' number one favorite book of the year. 7 entries so far, and it depends. I have two concepts. One is going to be like the traditional best books of the year video. One is inspired by another booktuber who did this, and I won't know the results for that one until I film it. Library of the Vikings Choice I've already read, and The Shades of Orange is the latest entry. Switch to Tokyo Ghoul, definitely a good choice. Also forgot how bloody this is. Manga brings out the horror lover in me. Think I can deal with horror in like books. Manga, I don't know because I don't read manga, but like I hate horror movies. I just really hate jump scares, and so that's what makes it even more horrible that I had this horrible jump scare in Elden Ring. But yeah, I think with Elden Ring, I'm not expecting to be jump scared all of the time, so I'm not as anxious throughout it as I am with a horror movie. Played some Super Mario and read like 5 pages of Iron Widow. Nice. I quickly keep a rolling star rating as I'm reading my book. Project Hail Mary started out as a 3, but has gone up to a 4 because of events. Yeah, part of me was like, maybe I should have, like, when I was DNFing it, people were like, yeah, but something is going to happen, and that might change your mind about it. And I did then kind of read about it after I DNF'd, and then I was like, should I just continue until that point? But honestly, I wasn't enjoying it enough. I read dirty 3 pages of Every Heart a Doorway and made some tea. Is it a reread for you? I've read Every Heart a Doorway, but I need to continue past there. I read nothing. I was on Discord the whole time. There's a hop read along on Mike's Discord, and I'm loving it. Yeah, so you have quite a bit of chatting to do over there. Is that also what you are doing, Tufty? Because you are also doing the hop read along. Is that read along? I was watching Steve Talk's books, recommend a book called Birthday Treat. Let us say that searching for that title brings up something entirely different on Amazon. Ah, dog treats. Okay, I would just think that it would bring up like the most generic stuff. It isn't big anymore, and it's never really been big. But because I was focusing on zero TBR, I was just never reading any of them, and so in principle, it's not big. But some of these books are over a year behind. So I have 7, I think, left at this point in time, of which only one still needs to come out. All 6 others have been out, some of which over a year. The strict format works really well. I like knowing exactly what time to come back at. Also, indeed. I still find it rather weird to be seeing you satire reading, so I confess I don't watch that. But I mean, I'm perfectly fine with you not watching me. But it would be weird to just have it be like an empty screen at the time of reading as well. Horror movies are not for me, but I've noticed I like gothic horror romances as well. Just no jump scares, splatter horror. I need to turn this a little bit, I think. Yeah, okay. Horror isn't for me. No, Realm of the Elderlings is a Matt on Books thing. I have removed myself from Mike's Books reviews and don't watching it anymore. Okay, yeah, there are typically like multiple read-alongs going on all across BookTube, so I just wanted to see whether it was the same one. But it doesn't surprise me that somebody else is also hosting a Realm of the Elderlings read-along. Yes, I read 2 books of Wayward Children, so I'm rereading those 2. I really love them. Yeah, I'm not going to be rereading Every Heart a Doorway, and I initially had put like 2 Wayward Children books on my TBR for this month, and now I'm like, okay, I am pretty sure that I'll only get around to 1 because I want to have the option to pick something up on a whim if I get through my TBR. So maybe I'll just have to accept that every Be Sure-a-thon I'm going to be reading one of these books, so I'll be perpetually behind. Meton Books is doing all of Realm of the Elderling starting January 2023 and finishes in summer 2024. Yeah, it was like that for back on the books for the Catch Up Book Club. You know, it took, I don't even know how long it took, but yeah, two months per book, with the exception of a few books towards in like the Dragon series. So it took very, very long time. And I was there when they announced it, and that was my moment of shame. I should have jumped on at that point in time. It's definitely not easy to get started in. Yeah, they make me feel really uncomfortable. Yeah, horror is like, and it depends. I don't think I will like all horror neither, but I do like unsettling things in books. But I also like that in horror movies, for example. I did like Get Out, for example, because it addresses something as well in its horror. And I guess we can consider this the what is it called? Tenders of Flesh, a horror as well. And that is also like the horror is in the way in which it talks about our society, you know. Also, don't remember all characters from Every Heart, which might come back in sequels. So, yeah, okay. I will admit, I don't know these characters anymore. It's fortunate that the read-long queens aren't doing a series I have any interest in, as that gives me a bit of breathing room. All the chat for Realm of the Elderlings is on the Grimoire Discord, but it is too busy for me to keep up with. Yeah, I can definitely understand that. So we are under a minute. I will definitely still try to get to as many comments as possible, but then this live show is going to be ending. You are already connected to 3 Discord. I'm overwhelmed now. I mean, most of my Discords I just kind of mute and then just check from time to time. And actually, I turned off all notifications for Discord at this point in time so that I need to go and check them myself. I started at least 6 months, but caught up to them by the last book. Wow. Bye. Yes, so thank you very much for being here for the first edition, and we will do this again next week. Same time, same place. See you guys.